I just want to make a public announcement. The way to win with Asian parents. Don't try authenticity. It won't work. Here's what you're going to do instead. This is the key. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Delayed gratification. The way to win with Asian parents is delayed gratification. Let me explain. Excuse the dust. Ugh. Okay. So, here's the deal. I'm someone that values authenticity. I'm someone that values being true to oneself because life is honestly too short. And if you are privileged enough to live in a country, in a household, in an environment where you can be your fullest self, you will be the happiest, most fulfilled version of yourself, and you will be a better person to the whole world. Whether it's your kids, your employees, your co-workers, strangers on the street, you will just be a better person if you are not stifled, right? And so I am all for authenticity, and I don't mean this in the sense to trample on other people, to be disrespectful. There's a difference between authenticity and being a prick, so that's not what I mean. But Asian parents, we love them, we know where they're coming from, which is that they prioritize security above all else. And you know, why and all, we don't need to get into that, but that's what they prioritize. If you start showing up with authenticity, which a lot of the time equates to unpredictability, they're not gonna like it. And think, if you're watching this far, you can relate to that. I tried the authenticity approach. I tried if I just keep showing up as myself, they'll get it. They'll see what I see. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work because that authenticity that you're trying to create in your life, that will end up being a trap for you, because in your authenticity you will fail, and then they can turn around and say, we told you so, and they will, unfortunately, they can hold that against you because you've got no means to be like, well, look, I'm successful. Now the thing is, I'm not saying don't take that path, but I'm saying if you want it to be a little bit more seamless and you're tired of failing, fuck authenticity. I don't mean for long. I don't mean forever. This is why I said delayed gratification. What you got to do is play the game. What you got to do is be the good little girl, be the good little boy that you're not, but you got to do it so that you can afford the freedom, the leg to stand on to say, actually, no, I'm going to rebel now. Because yes, they will say comments then. Yes, they're going to talk about how much they dislike it, how wrong you are, yada, 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 how they don't understand you, and so on and so forth. But at that point, their opinion doesn't hold so much weight because you are not dependent upon them. If you live in your Asian parents' household, if you live, you know, if they pay your bills, if they pay your phone bill, if that's what's going on, you respond to them. That's how it works in an Asian household. If you don't, or in a strict or immigrant parent household, that's how it works. If that isn't the case for you, well, I guess in some ways you're lucky, It is what it is. I'm not going to call this a purely positive thing and a purely negative thing. We're just talking about, I guess, the more like negative shadow aspects to growing up in an Asian household, which is that success is a certain way. Right? And that's not just an Asian thing. This exists in many households. But unfortunately, I'm realizing it sucks so much. And I hope that as a parent, I can create more room for my kids to be their authentic selves. But anyway, that nonsense aside, again, no hate to my parents. My parents are just doing their best. That's all. You can't hate your parents for doing their best, right? If they're not being like straight up nasty, if they're just doing their best, like you can't hate on them. Just love them and respect them for the best that they're doing. Not many people will do that for you. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it's still hard at times. And so here I am, like trying to be authentic. Baby, nah, you can't do that. It won't work. You need a leg to stand on first. You want to be authentic? Why do you get to be authentic? When we've struggled so much to do X, Y, Z, when our version of success and our stories went this way, when our parents did this for us, how come you decide you get to be authentic? Like, it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's right, but I'm just saying that that's the environment in which you're living in. So you need to give yourself the permission to be authentic, but it sucks so bad, but you got to sort of give yourself the platform. And a lot of the time that platform will come in the language that they understand. So speak to them in their language. For you, that could look like having a certain job, getting your degree done, earning a certain amount of money. That speaks to them in their language. Once you do that, then you can turn around and be like, and actually I'm doing this. They may hate your guts, but they can't really say anything because you've done the key thing that speaks to them in their language. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I hate to say it, but you got to delay being yourself in order for you to survive the short term, if that makes sense, because you're just gonna get given a hard time, quite honestly. You have to sort of, it's not a full sacrifice of oneself. It's not being like, I'm never going to be able to be myself, though it does feel like that sometimes. It's just that right now, in this current situation, as they're paying my bills, as I cannot afford to fully be myself, but I'm going to get myself to a position, not necessarily, okay, 5 years maybe. Don't let it take up a decade of your life. That's really sad. I think if you have to go a whole decade putting your fullest, like, authentic self to a side, I think that's really sad. But if you can do the basic stuff, like, it could just be getting into a certain university that makes them proud, and that university could actually just be really, really far away, and then that facilitates your authenticity, right? Or it could just be getting a certain job for them, but that job, the income that you get from it, allows you to do your authentic thing on the side. Like, don't throw everything away. When I say don't be fully authentic, I don't mean be fully inauthentic. Never, because I think you will honestly get so depressed, and that is completely against my values. I would never want to tell someone to be fully inauthentic to themselves, but I'm just saying that, look at it percentage wise. Do a little bit more inauthentic to keep the not the peace, but to keep them a little bit happy, if you will, which speaks to them in their language. Get to a bit of a level that they will respect, and then do your own thing, because you can, like, low-key afford to do your thing, you know? It sucks, but that's the key. That is the key. And the reason I recognize this is because I see myself and I see my sister. I have been very unconventional. I've been fully, I guess, myself, messy, if you will, growing up. And my parents now are at this point where it's not that they hate me, or, you know, but they don't, because I've failed so much with the authenticity, they are like, well, we know success, and this hasn't been it. Therefore, we take our version of success, put it on her, she will be successful. That's their thinking. They don't realize that in all my failures I've learned, and that actually I can be successful my own way still. But because I have no leg to stand on, because I still live with them, I have to embrace their version of success and take it on as my own, so that I can create my own version of success. Now, I'm doing my little thingies on the side, not anything dodgy, but my own little thingies on the side to stay in touch with myself, to stay in touch with my authenticity, and to not fully sacrifice what makes me me and my dreams and my vision for success in myself. But with my sister, she's younger than me, very different story. She's very good at being conventional. She's very good at following, I guess, the status quo, doing things in the order that they expect and the way that they expect. And then she gets these sort of like additional freedoms, if you will. And it's not coming from a place of malicious intent. It's not coming from a place of she's better, we prefer her. Not at all. It's just that because they know what to expect, she's got this additional freedom because she matches their expectations, they trust her more, right? And so match their expectations whilst you are dependent upon them. It gives you more freedom than if you were to just go against the grain. They don't know what to do with you, and then they think the only way to solve this problem is with what we know, which is to reduce the freedom or to treat them more as a child, because they clearly don't know what they're doing because they're failing. Now, again, Asian parents prioritize security. So if you're out here failing all the time, yes, the long term is that you will be successful eventually, but they can't see that right now. So if they're looking at you and all you're doing is failing, and they've never seen this form of success before, they're going to be like, well, obviously the only solution is to take control. So succeed as much as you can without sacrificing yourself in their form of success to facilitate your authenticity. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to lose my voice because I'm still recovering from like a flu cold situation, but I hope that helps. I'm dying. Love you guys. Bye.